The man found an abandoned alien child in the dump. Then her mother came. John Briggs had lived his life in the shadow of the city skyline. The towering glass spires and neon lights of New York City were a world away from his quiet, lonely existence as a janitor at a local scrapyard. But it wasn't the towering buildings that grabbed his attention today. It was a small sound, a faint cry, coming from the back of the dump. John paused, his broom still in hand. For a moment, he thought he was imagining it, the desperate wail of a child. But then it came again, softer but clear. He dropped his broom and shuffled toward the noise, the air thick with the stench of garbage, old plastic, and burnt-out electronics. As he rounded a pile of broken televisions, he spotted her, a tiny, thin creature huddled in the wreckage. At first glance, she looked like a child, but her skin was an unusual shade of violet, and her eyes glowed with an eerie silver light. Her small hands reached out to him, her voice barely a whisper. "Help, please." John's heart skipped a beat. He knelt beside her, his mind racing. What was this? An alien child? Or some kind of genetic experiment gone wrong? Either way, she needed help, and that was all that mattered. "Hey, little one," he murmured, lifting her carefully from the debris. Her frail body trembled in his arms, but her eyes locked onto his with an unsettling sense of recognition. "What happened to you? Who did this to you?" The child gave a soft whimper, her thin lips quivering. "They left me here. I was alone." John didn't know who they were, but he could see the fear in her eyes. She was just a kid, alone in the cold, dark world of a garbage dump. He wrapped his jacket around her as best he could, holding her against his chest as he tried to make sense of the situation. He could feel her trembling against him, but it wasn't just in the cold. It was fear. "Don't worry, you're safe now," John promised, though he wasn't sure he believed the words himself. He carried her back to his small apartment above the scrapyard. The place was little more than a studio with peeling walls and a bed that sagged in the middle, but it was clean enough, and right now, that was all he could offer. The child didn't speak much. She simply clung to him as he fed her what little he had, some cereal and water, but she barely touched the food. Her gaze was distant, haunted. It was clear she didn't trust him completely yet, but he could tell she was starving, both physically and emotionally. Hours passed, and John tried to rest, but sleep wouldn't come. The weight of what he'd found, what he was now responsible for, kept him awake. The question of who they were lingered in the back of his mind. Who would abandon a child like this? And why? Suddenly, there was a sound, a tapping at his window. John froze. He hadn't heard anyone approach. His apartment was on the third floor, and the street below was empty this time of night. Slowly, he stood up, his eyes scanning the dimly lit room. The tapping came again, louder this time, followed by a low growl. John's breath caught in his throat. He moved toward the window cautiously, his heart hammering in his chest. As he drew back the curtain, he was met by the chilling sight of a figure standing outside. The silhouette of a woman, tall and imposing, her skin shimmering with an otherworldly glow. Before he could react, the woman spoke, her voice both commanding and cold. "Where is she?" John's body went rigid. His mind raced for an explanation, but he had none. There was only one answer he could give, and even that felt like a lie. I don't know what you're talking about," he stammered. "Who are you?" The woman's eyes narrowed, her gaze sharp as she studied him. "I am Amara, and I am her mother. You have my child." John's heart skipped. The alien child, his small guest, was a woman's daughter? It didn't seem possible. He hadn't known what to expect when he found her, but a mother, this woman, didn't seem to belong in this world. The alien woman stepped forward, her long, elegant fingers tapping against the glass. "Open the window. Now!" John hesitated. The last thing he wanted to do was let her in, but the fear in her eyes, the desperation in her voice, made him second-guess himself. With a deep breath, he slowly unlocked the window, opening it just enough for her to step inside. The woman moved with a fluid grace, as though she wasn't entirely of this world. She didn't speak for a long time, only staring at the child as she lay curled up on the couch, her small body wrapped in the blanket John had given her. The woman's gaze softened, but there was a flicker of something darker beneath it. "I never wanted this for her," Amara whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "She was supposed to be safe. But the war, it forced my people to do terrible things. They didn't care for her like they should have." John stood frozen, still unsure what to say. The woman's words didn't make sense. War? Her people? What was going on? "I wasn't supposed to leave her," Amara continued, her voice trembling now. "But I had no choice. They took her from me. I had to run. And now, she's been abandoned on this filthy planet. By my own people. She's not safe here, and neither are you." John took a step back, his thoughts swirling. This was too much. An alien war, an abandoned child, and now, a mother who had come back to find her. The whole thing felt surreal. He barely knew how to handle the child, let alone this woman who clearly had the power and authority of a whole alien race. "What do you want from me?" he asked, his voice hoarse. Amara's gaze softened as she looked at him. "I need your help. I can't do this alone. She's the only family I have left, and I'm not leaving without her." John didn't know what to say. He wasn't a hero. He was just a guy who had stumbled upon something he didn't understand, someone he wasn't prepared for. But there was something about Amara, the intensity of her love, the desperation in her eyes, that made him want to help her. It wasn't just a plea for a child's safety. It was a plea for survival. "I don't know what I can do," John said, his voice low, "but I'll help. We'll figure something out." Amara gave a small, relieved sigh as she knelt down beside her child, gently brushing a lock of violet hair away from the girl's face. "Thank you," she whispered. "You don't know what this means." And as the two of them stood there in the quiet of John's apartment, the future of an alien world and a family hung in the balance. John didn't know where this would lead or what dangers lay ahead, but for the first time in his life, he felt like he had a purpose: to protect, to fight, to survive. Together,